what is the NTF-ELCAC? What does it do? And what is the vision behind it?
And the National Task Force to End Local Communists was created by President Rodrigo Duterte's signing of the Executive Order number 70. To put it really simply, what does it hope to achieve? It's the end of this 53 years scourge and the whole of nation approach in attaining sustainable peace and progress. So everybody is being enjoined. The president is asking all of us to finally end what should have ended a very, very long time ago. So ano ba yung National Task Force ELCAC? It's the entire, I mean, if I put it simply, it's the entire government doing what it should have done a very long time ago, which is to serve our people. Kasi the understanding, what we've learned, the lesson that we've learned about this 53-year communist scourge that has brought so much pain and destruction and suffering to our people is that it happened because government did not do its job well. I mean, if I put it, if we're cutting to the chase, di ba? Ganun lang yon, yung realization na marami ang naloko, marami ang nalinlang nitong communist terrorist group na ito because there was some objective reality. Kasi ang CPP, NPA, NDF, what they really want is to weaken government, diba? So how do they do that? They tell a lot of lies about the government, no, so that the people will hate and mistrust government. And then at the end goal of that is to overthrow government and then to supplant our democracy with communism. It was really kind of easy before this administration happened to do that because if you go to the mga interiors, na yung talagang gida, the geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas of our country, which I go to on a regular basis, you are really going to see the neglect of government, the indifference and the incompetence. And basically parang kasi when I go there, I've worked with the poor all of my adult life and I'm used to seeing poverty. I'm used to seeing extreme poverty. Pero this is the kind of poverty that I have no words for, and it's by government neglect. When the president signed the the Executive Order number 70, he told us, if you really want to end this travesty, no, this over 5 decades na pang-aabuso ng terorista na mga ito, there are only 2 words to that, and that's good governance, which means that this government has to serve. Kasi ang nangyari dyan is that all they needed to do, with a government that doesn't serve, all the communist terrorists have to do is just tell the truth and just embellish, diba? And lie because they are liars. So they'll just say, government doesn't really care for you, no? All they needed to do was tell the truth that government doesn't care for you. Tamo, wala kayong mga eskwela man lang para sa mga anak nyo at para umabot kami dito, wala man lang farm to market roads na para umabot dito, kailangan 5 hours ka na nag-cook. You really need to go on all fours and they could not get out of extreme poverty because they could not have a decent a livelihood, 'di ba? Which is yun yung design ng CPP, NPA, NDF na talagang ilugmok sa kahirapan yung mga kapatid natin na pinakamahihirap. But now it's not like that anymore kasi government is doing its job. When the president sat in office, this is the first time that that we have last mile schools, natanggal na yung na dismantle na yung mga communist terrorist training camps ng CPP, NPA, NDF that pretended to be schools, no? I'm talking about yung Save Our Schools network na mga eskwela kuno pero terrorist training camps. That's Salugpungan schools, Alcadev, Misfi, mga ganyan, no? These schools, but they're not really schools, they're terrorist training
Front lang
camps.
sila, front.
Yeah, they're fronts. Was where the worst crimes on our indigenous peoples were committed, no? Like recruitment, radicalization, human trafficking, kidnapping, sexual abuse, terrorist financing, slavery, all of that, no? That's why nga ang Pangulo, galing-galing talaga ni Pangulo kasi napakalalim ng understanding niya dito na ang sinabi niya, alam mo, for us to really end this, it's really good governance and the empowerment of our indigenous peoples, because one of those triggers of the creation of EO70 was when our president found out that fully 60 to 90% of the NPAs came from our indigenous peoples. Can you imagine that? So nakita niya na talagang niloko at pinagsamantalahan ang mga kapatid nating katutubo. So I said so much, no? But what
No,
is the
no, this is exactly
EO70?
what we need. This is exactly
Okay,
what we
okay, you
need.
can never make me stop talking about this because I really want to end this. So NTF-ELCAC is beautiful, Franco, kasi it's made up of 12 clusters. So one of the strategic communications cluster, because why? Because the more than anything, this is an information war. When you're up against liars and deceitful bastards like the ones in Congress, you really need this is really one of the formidable weapons of the CPP, if not their most formidable weapon, is their propaganda machine. So there's that, and then there's the livelihood, poverty and livelihood cluster. There's the legal cluster, task force balik loob, and then there's the sectoral and unification cluster. There's the infrastructure cluster. All of it. So it's so comprehensive. It's so comprehensive, and at the very core of that talaga is good governance. That for the first time, our people are finally getting the roads that they need. They have this mga schools, mga health centers kasi grabe talaga yung dinadaanan nila, Franco. I could write a book about the things that I've seen, no, na nakakaawa talaga, na in order for them to for instance, no, in order for their children to go to school, they have to walk 3 hours every
Mhm.
day. It's not like that anymore. I'm not saying that 100% ayos na, no, but we're getting there. Now, for the first time, without any exaggeration, for the first time, a lot of our kababayans, most of them are indigenous peoples, are finally feeling government, no, the services of government. So there, that in a nutshell is the National Task Force. What it's not is what Leni Robredo says it is. It's what did she say? Tokhang. It really
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she just really exposes her ignorance.
Yun nga, ma'am, kasi that's the thing. When I decided to look into the NTF LCAC, and then it's a
Mm.
really really good program. And one of
Yeah.
my main questions back then, and I hope you can provide me with your insight, is bakit ngayon lang siya nangyari? I've been in
Yeah.
existence in this country for more than 30 years. How
Yeah.
come this is the only time that this
Yeah.
issue was addressed? And a
Yeah.
lot of it, especially when it comes to the NPA insurgency, as in, pati yung kalakaran nila dyan, like the extortion
Yeah.
to the kidnappings and everything, parang it doesn't make sense that it wasn't being addressed
Yeah.
before. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden now, diba, all of a sudden now it's here. What were the barriers before? Like, based on your insight on how you're handling everything right now, what were the barriers before, and what changed in order for EO70 to happen?
There's only one name I can give you, and
Mm-hmm.
it's Rodrigo Roa Duterte. And I'm not saying this because I love him, because I do love him, but that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people on the ground, no, our armed forces, our leaders, those who really know, those who have experienced the benefits of the EO70, as well as the former rebels and high value targets who've surrendered and who were caught, will point to one thing. It is the leadership of Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Alam mo, lagi kong tinatanong yan, why only now? Plenty in various reasons, no? In various situations and circumstances. Like for instance, recently, the PNP was deputized by the Anti-Money Laundering Council, which is so
Mm-hmm.
important in fighting this terrorist communism, to finally end it, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So they were telling me that actually matagal ng batas ito. So I'm asking, why only now? And the answer is Rodrigo Roa Duterte. His very strong leadership, and I'm telling you this because I worked for the president, and
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced his leadership. He doesn't even micromanage. He's just so clear about the things that matter, and he nothing will get in the way of this president, nothing. And he has this depth of knowledge that is just that's just being put to good use right now. And he's of uncommon valor, this president, and his love for country can never be questioned. And
Mm-hmm.
there are three things talaga that move this president: national interest, national interest, and national interest. That's it. In other words, whatever is good for us, that one he will do. Finally, no, noon pa naman ito noon pa naman itong alam natin na may CPP, NPA, NDF, di ba? But no president before him had the balls, had the brains, had the courage, and had the political will to go after it. And what are his marching orders to us? End it before I step down on June 30, 2022.